being early. This is a call to action. Bitcoin is down nearly 5% today and 10% this week, and the fear is thick. But let me remind you, this is the price of being early. Bitcoin, hodling Bitcoin, some say, Bitcoin, what do? You hodlers, these people just holding Bitcoin, you're not doing anything. There's nothing you're doing. I just don't get it. You're just lazy. You're hoarding. Hodling Bitcoin is the most moral thing someone could do. In a capitalist system, you need capital. You need equity. We don't have that in a fiat debt-based legacy monetary system currently as it stands. Hodling Bitcoin is the most moral thing you could do because by hodling Bitcoin, you are selling dollars. You're pulling the fiat debt-based monetary system down to its knees. It already is doing it under its own weight. But Bitcoin hodlers are selling their dollars, their fiat, into the system and instead trading it for the hardest money known to humans. Really the first money known to human beings. And that won't last forever. That won't last forever. This is why governments are seizing assets. This is why you're being frozen out of things. This is why we're going to do a live stream soon showing the FDIC video from a couple of years ago about them showing you their card saying, we don't even believe in the system. We don't even trust in this system. The public trusts the system, but we don't. The insiders, ha, 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 ha. Absolute lunacy. Lunacy. And they go on for hours talking about this. And we have a 1-minute clip that we will share later this week. We're not going to share it today. I'm still trying to figure out the audio and how things work. But this is why they're freezing assets. This is why there's bail-ins. This is why there are asset seizures. This is why Europe's going through what they're going through. Canada's going through what they're going through. Tightening down, rationing down. This is why America is on its own path, but not far behind. This is what happens at the end of the line. And at the end of the day, you have to have empathy. You have to have empathy for people in positions of power. Most people are just doing what they think is best. They're just doing what they think they need to do in order to protect the system and help the system. Because again, you show up, just imagine you show up in one of these positions of power today. You are given this pile of garbage and you need to figure that out somehow. Well, good luck. You can't. As many Bitcoiners have talked about, you can't fix the system inside that system. You can't shuffle the deck chairs of the Titanic and expect it not to sink. You can't vote in a new captain and expect it not to sink after it's hit the iceberg. It's going to be at the bottom of the Atlantic in a few hours. And now that might be a few years or a few decades in the case of taking the dollar off of gold in 1971. And here we are 52 years later, 54 years later? No, 50, holy cow, 71? Jeez. Where's time gone? Wow. And here we are. So this is a call for calm. Bitcoin being down right now is just merely a bump in the road. Governments are panicking. Europe's cracking. The FDIC, again, admitted they can't tell the public the truth about the banking system. And the Fed's cutting rates while debt explodes to the moon. People are getting shaken out because they don't understand what they own. You're not watching a crash. You're watching the fiat system bleed out. That's it. Stay focused. Stay focused. Keep the main thing the main thing. That is it. That's all you need to do. Do not get sucked in. As Derek Zoolander walking down the catwalk, don't get sucked in by the beautiful models and the heads of state and the different people around you. Don't get sucked in. Be laser focused. Relax, right? The record they play in Zoolander, relax. Just relax. Because 10 years from now, you'll either tell a story of how you held through all this or how you got shaken out of the hardest money ever created. Period. End of story. This is just a call to relax. Understand the main thing is the main thing. The debt is going through massive upheaval. Massive upheaval. Think about that. We have Bitcoin price here. We were just talking about this, obviously. But this, you invert this, really, you zoom out and you invert it. This is just what it is when you look at the debt. Look at that. That's the debt. I think this is the story of the story. I'm reading a book right now by Neil Flesher, and I'm going to interview him soon. And it's called Modern Chains. And I couldn't agree with him more. I used to be, again, I was a guy who had multiple small businesses. I played professional hockey. was in politics 20 years ago. And then the last 10, 15 years has just been a study of money, personal development, building businesses, raising money, buying real estate, using other people's money, all these different things. But at some point it dawns on you, oh my gosh, no one else can do this except me, or someone like me, not egotistically, but someone that's put in 15 years of study. They put in the blood, sweat, and tears, the experience, raising money. They built a network. I mean, I was doing Facebook Lives and Instagram Lives 10 years ago when those things just came out, the ability to do those things. TikTok, the early days, Musically, if you remember that, some of these things that, like, as a fiat business owner, you're trying to do all these things in order to raise awareness and market. The gotta go market and do these things and build a brand and build a following and all these things. And it just dawned on me one day of, oh my gosh, I need to get out of here. When I really started rocking Bitcoin in 2017, 2018, after loosely following it for a year or two, I just realized, and the reason I didn't, by the way, is because I was scared of self-custody. I was scared of wallets. One of our sponsors, Foundation, it makes it so incredibly easy. And granted, it's easier today than it was back, 10 years ago, but it is so simple. It takes minutes to get your key, to get set up, and to have your wealth custodied by you in your head. Get your key and then put it on stamp seed titanium. Make sure you're doing these things. Again, make sure we're putting those things. And in a couple minutes, you can have wealth that I couldn't have 10 years ago. And no one could have for thousands of years. You can't pick up your apartment complex. You can't pick up your house and move it to another country. Keep the main thing the main thing. Don't get shaken out. Don't get rattled out by all the BS and all the garbage going on in the world. All the unrest, take down Twitter for a while, take down Nostr for a while, like just take these things down and forget it. Turn the TV off, turn the internet off for a while, touch some grass, be around people who are going to bring you up. I mean, look at this again. Look at this chart. This is the debt. If you, again, people say, well, Bitcoin's just liquidity drain. It's just there to, because the dollar is failing and governments are doing all these things. Like if they weren't doing that stuff, Bitcoin wouldn't exist. No shit. You don't say. Do we think, there's a saying in investing, the trend is your friend. The trend is your friend. Don't fight against the current. If I took you 10 miles down a stream and I told you to swim 10 miles upstream or make your way out to, if I told you to start in Quebec City or Montreal in the St. Lawrence River and swim all the way up into Lake Ontario or Lake Erie, could you do it? No, of course not. You die along the way because you would die of exhaustion. That's like someone trying to be a real estate investor like I was, or build a business in the world we're in. Now, granted, do some people squeak through? Are there some salmon that swim upstream are able to make it through? Yeah, there is, but a lot of them get caught. They get exhausted. They die. They get caught by a bear, like whatever it is. This is the fiat trap. It makes you think that, again, here, like, oh, Bitcoin price is going up. Oh, it's doing all the things. No, it's the dollar going down. That's the debt. That's the debt that is being that's imploding everything in around you. And that's why you're playing this game that's unwinnable. You can't play this game. And it's a capitalism harder, bro. And that's what Neil Flesher talks about. It's funny. We're in such an unbelievable time right now. There's a book called Moral Money, a book called Modern Chains, Larry Lepard's Big Print, the books I'm writing about the founding of America and Bitcoin. Some of these things and all these books right now that just come out in the last year are so inspirational. And we only have such a small percent of people in Bitcoin right now. And there's such unbelievable minds. And so many of these books, I can see these things coming together in my head and taking a lot of these guys are talking about concepts that I've been thinking of in aggregation, and they're talking about them individually in all these books. And I laugh because, no idea is truly unique, and to ourselves. But the fact that you have all these people talking about these different things, these different, say there's 5 things I have in my head. Well, they're all talking about them in each of these 5 books, so to speak. So it's truly remarkable. And when you look at these men and women writing, Lynn Alden's Broken Money and Jimmy Song's Fiat Ruins Everything, and you just go down the list, Terrence Michael's Proof of Money, or Thank God for Bitcoin by Jimmy Song and Jordan Bush and all these wonderful people in the back. Jeff Booth, Price of Tomorrow. I mean, there's so many unbelievable things. And at the same time, we need to know our enemies, know what we're fighting against. This is not red versus blue. This is us versus them. This is really a fight of collectivism versus individualism. And what are we going to do? How are we going to shake out here? And we know at the end of the day, we know the properties of Bitcoin. That's what we don't have to worry about. We understand the consensus protocol. We understand that doesn't matter if it was made by the NSA or it was made by CIA. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. That's the beauty of this, is that we get to have a money that is incorruptible. It's immutable. That's the true beauty in all this. So whether there's price drops here and there, is volatility, all these different things, a short term, this and that, it doesn't matter. Keep the main thing the main thing. We are here for on a moral, a righteous indignation for what's happening. We can talk about all the macro we want and all the BS. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. The fundamentals don't lie. Fundamentals don't lie. The institutional adoption is here. The long-term holders have never been higher. The hash rate's never been higher. And then we have people, they're lowering rates and they're talking about freezing of assets and bailing people out and bailing people in. The European Union chaos, FDIC here. Blackstone a couple of years ago, gating funds all the time. This is only going to speed up because you have to. In a debt-based system that's built on nothing, this is what has to happen. That has to continue happening. Period. End of story. There is no other way. I mean, I love how we try to dance around these subjects. We try to dance around everything like these. Oh, this can't happen. That's not going to happen. Oh, the frog in the boiling pot. Like, oh, it won't happen here. The USD can never fail. It's going to fail. It's failing. It's lost 99% of its value in the last 112 years, and it's going to lose 99% more. We are $5 to $6 trillion in debt 20 years ago, exactly 20 years ago. 5 to 6 trillion. We're now at 38 trillion. Think about that. Think about that. We're going to be dang near 40 trillion in the next year, and then more. Next black swan, the next thing happens, boom. And this is why they have capital controls. You see it in the East. You see it here. You see it here in a way. We have so many taxes. We have estate taxes. We have death taxes. We have so many different things which are pseudo capital controls in a way. But the fundamentals don't lie. Jeff Booth, Michael Saylor, Stanley Druckenmiller, Ray Dalio. They get it. They see it. Tim Draper. The smartest money on earth isn't selling. They've just started piling in. I mean, most of them have just started piling in. And you're worrying about a couple percent drop. Boy, no better time to get 0.001 Bitcoin, to get 0.1 Bitcoin, to get 1 Bitcoin. No better time to selling off fiat assets to get the hardest money to ever exist. And think about this wealth transfer that's coming. As people see the writing on the wall and the system coming down, this is a world that we are in. And then I got to share this other thing. This is one of the, again, keeping the main thing is the only thing that we need to do at the end of the day. I got to replace this chart so you guys can see. You guys probably have seen this meme. Honestly, it's probably one of my favorite memes, to be totally honest. And it really kind of says a lot about just how you need to think about Bitcoin, right? The daily Bitcoin meme until it's at 200,000. I love it. But the median price home in 2012 was probably 100, 150,000 US dollars. And it was 50,000 Bitcoin in 2012. And then in 2016, it was 697 Bitcoin. And it was what, $250,000 at that time? This one doesn't have the price, but I've seen this so many times in other ways. And if someone has it, actually, you can put it in the chat. But then in 2020, it was 46 Bitcoin, but it was $350,000. You had to find another $100,000 of that currency. But in Bitcoin terms, it keeps going down 1/10 every time. And now it's 5 Bitcoin. So it's a few Bitcoin, but yet it's $450,000. So it keeps going up in fiat terms because they keep printing the currency into oblivion. And it keeps getting cheaper in Bitcoin terms. I think this is the reframe that we need to understand. And again, if you are worried about your assets being taken, frozen, seized, bailed in, bailed out, Bitcoin is a completely different network. It is a completely different network from anything we have outside of the fiat debt-based legacy monetary Titanic. You are the Bitcoin life raft. Yes. Is it a small nascent asset class? Yes. Is it in the big dark ocean right now? Yeah, of course. But that's the price. That is the price of generational wealth. That is the price of having your wealth and knowing you have your wealth and putting it in and setting up your key through your foundation passport, your cold storage wallet, or whatever you're using, putting it on a stamp seed titanium plate. This is all you need to have generational wealth for hundreds of years, for thousands of years. Think about that. That's it. That's all you need. That is literally all you need. Absolute insanity. We have that now. No one's ever had that before. We've never had that in human history, and now we do. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. The ship is going down. Fiat institutions are collapsing under their own weight. The young can't afford to have families. The birth rate's collapsing. Can't afford to buy a home. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all these systems we know, the government says they're insolvent. They are insolvent. See ya. Bye. And what are we going to do? Now, the promises are going to be kept, but you might get your $2,000 a month in 10 years and it will buy you a loaf of bread. So theoretically, they kept the promise. But what does it buy at that time? Younger generations won't tolerate a rigged system. They will not. This is what really a lot of the Gen X, and then especially the Gen Y, or the millennials, and then Gen Z underneath that, they are not accepting that. And then the Gen Alpha, which are really the young kids right now, I think under 5 or something like that, they only know, or under 5, under 10, something like that. They only know Bitcoin. So what do we think it's going to be in 10 or 20 years from now? That's why the main thing, you have to keep the main thing. And again, it only takes a couple % adoption to move everything across the finish line. 2 or 3% adoption is needed for the world to flip. That's it. We're not trying to, again, we talked about the American Revolution, and a couple % fought. And we can proverbially pick up the sidearm and say, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. This is the peaceful revolution now. I'm not doing this. I'm defunding all this garbage. And again, if it stays decentralized and secure, we protect the system and the consensus protocol. We do that. We know, therefore, it will change other people. So guess what? The government of the world and the people of the world that run things, the powers that be, they are people too. They have family. They have people around them. They will then start understanding, oh, I need to get some Bitcoin. I can't fight this thing. I need to get on board. I need to jump in because it actually benefits me. It actually benefits my corporation, my entity, the state, whatever it is. It benefits them. And then if it's changing that person, the state will necessarily diminish over time the power and authority, because people around the world will be changed, even in positions of power. They will be changed as well. They start realizing, oh, I don't need to beat people over the head. I have Bitcoin. My citizens have Bitcoin. We're all getting wealthier. We have nuclear SMRs. We, excuse me, we have small modular reactors. We have all these ways to make energy more abundant, and everyone's getting wealthier over time. And I don't need to steal and rob from other people from Latin America or from Africa or whatever it is. I don't need to do these things. And now, again, is there going to be some evil out there? Yeah, of course, there will be some, but there will be a lot of people that change. And the people that want to do dastardly things will continue to diminish. Freedom tech always wins when truth meets math. So we talked about, again, how to stay in the game. We talked about getting Passport Core, putting on Stampseed, links in the descriptions. You can check those out. The Team to Help is Bitcoin Way. I'm so blessed to have the sponsors that I have in the show. We have over a half dozen sponsors now, and they all fit together. A lot of them work together. They're Bitcoin denominated, Bitcoin only, freedom, sovereignty, privacy, open source, ethos, period. If you ever have an issue with any of them, please come and let me know. Please come and let me know. Health sovereignty, some of our new ones, Crowd Health and Soap Miner, incredible natural products, Crowd Health, crowd sharing, and helping people through a community of like-minded individuals. Absolutely unbelievable. Meanwhile, a new one, life insurance, the first one ever, Bitcoin denominated life insurance. Have to live in two worlds. We're going to talk more about that going forward. And the Orange Pill app, community's number one aspect of a survival situation. This is partly why I do what I do. Just newsflash. Doing the interviews, doing the live streams is so I can build community, so I can meet people. I just spoke at a couple of conferences and met some unbelievable people that I already feel like I've known for my entire life just recently. So going to things like this and us joining together and things like the Orange Pill app and meeting up and then meeting in real life, IRL, as the kids say, that's the most important thing, because bad times are going to hit. They've already been hitting, if you haven't noticed. And we're all going to fall short in something. So the people around you are going to be the best people in order to help shore that up. So check the links in the description below for all those unbelievable sponsors. And if you have a problem with anyone, let me know, please. Nothing matters more to me than, again, I feel the necessity to share the people that I work with or that I use. And I looked, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when I was coming into space, I looked for people that I trusted and I watched for a long time. And what are they using? What are they, you can still, trust, but verify. You have to make sure you do your work and make sure you're following the ethos. But there are incredible people out there that support each other to push forward privacy, open source technology, freedom, sovereignty. There are companies out there that think like that. That's the beauty of Bitcoin. Not everyone does. It's not many, but there are, not everyone. Again, the crypto space is a complete mess. So good luck with that. But the Bitcoin space is incredible. So the last 15 years for me, I saw all the scams, broken incentives. I was in gold and silver. I was in real estate. I found a system that fixed the base layer, that monetary layer. Bitcoin is a lot of things. It's a money and it's a protocol, number one, but it's also an investment. It's a lifeboat. It's that monetary layer underneath the economic system. That's what we need to root and more ourselves in, truth in, and build a system on top of that. This is when conviction is forged. Volatility is the toll booth you pay to cross into the new world. Don't quit 5 minutes before your miracle. Don't do it. Please don't do it. It's like Washington crossing the Delaware right now. Get your coins off exchanges. Build community. Educate one more person today. Freedom only needs 3% of us to finish the job. That's it. That's all we need. All right, let me see what questions you guys have. I have no idea. I'm recording on Restream here now, so I'm not really sure where everything is in the chat and all that. Sharper, yes, this is actually live. I got the chat. I do like Restream more. Riverside was not great for this. So the chat is actually live. Daniel, the only people I see panicking, the Bitcoin YouTubers trying to calm others down, but they are the ones worked up. The only people I see panicking are the Bitcoin YouTubers. I'm not really sure what that means. I haven't watched many other Bitcoin YouTubers trying to. The only people I see panicking are the Bitcoin YouTubers trying to calm others down, but they are the ones worked up. Huh. Yeah. I'm not really sure what you mean there, Daniel. There's other YouTubers that are worked up. I haven't seen any other YouTubers. I have not really watched any other stuff. Actually, I lied. The only one I watched was Jack Maller's show from yesterday, which I found funny because I listened to it today. Actually, it's been a lot crazy the last couple of days for me, and I saw his show yesterday, and it was funny because he kept saying, hey, all this is happening, and it's all happening above 100,000. So like right when, ironically, the time I was listening to it, it had just dipped like slightly below 100 to like 99, which is what the first time, and I saw it in 134 days. So kind of ironic. That was funny, but I don't know. He was not freaking out, but again, that was a little different. So yeah, Sharper got more sassy yesterday. Exactly. That's, what's good is bad. It's the law of polarity, right? What's good is bad, and what's bad is good, and it's all how we look at things. Yeah, Beachy, more people knew all depositors are unsecured creditors, more people would learn about Bitcoin. I know it really is. It's amazing. I mean, my mom always told the story of when she was a little girl that, she went to the bank and, thought they took her actual dollars and saved those exact dollars and put it in like a little cubby or, a safety deposit box. And like, when you came back, you got to get those dollars back. And she was like mortified when she found out like, that's not the case. That's not how this works. But still, most people to this day still think that that's how it works, which is really wild. And like you said, for the industry that's so regulated, it's amazing that there's the one thing I don't have to tell you is, hey, by the way, you're a private money lender for the bank, and they get to go do whatever they want with it and try to go make a spread on this. So good luck. Hopefully give it back to you. And the one thing I fear is that people like peaceful slavery over volatile freedom. And a lot of humans like that. We're entrapped in the system. That's why I think it's going to be a little while. It's going to be 5, 10 years, 15 years of the generations changing and the younger generation seeing all this chaos happen and not being okay with it and just being like, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. This is not how this is working. And we just need a couple % of those people to wake up and say, nah, yeah, I'm good. We're all good here. But think about the number of assets that are transferring from the boomer generation, that generation down to the younger generations here in the next 5, 10 years, 15 years. As they pass away, you're gonna have so many people coming to Bitcoin because they're gonna have these assets and they're not gonna know what to do with it. Again, I was in real estate for 10 years and raising money, buying and selling real estate. It's not easy, like doing the actual thing and then managing real estate. If you want rental real estate, that's the hardest part. The easiest part is buying and selling real estate. That's not easy. And I helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people do that. I was blessed to be able to do that. But that's the easy part, like that. It takes a skill to be able to do that well, efficiently, and get it done and get the correct deal done. But that's like 10% of it. 90% is managing people, managing tenants, managing your residents. And that's what most people just don't understand. And that's why Bitcoin, if you just had a money, if you want to be in real estate, that's fine. I love real estate. I'll be back into real estate someday. I always joke that I'll know when the society is healed, when residents or tenants are paying in Bitcoin, they ask to pay in Bitcoin. That's when I'll know. Like if you have any of you watched Biff Tannen's or Back to the Future 2 with Biff Tannen's Pleasure Paradise, right in there when Biff takes the almanac and he goes and starts on his own space-time continuum and creates his own world and is a huge, has the almanac. So he starts winning all of his bets and he creates his own new world and everything's just a disaster. And he has like the one palace high rise. Well, that's kind of like what we're living through. And I'll know when society is healed, when I can go back out into the wild and start getting other assets, other investments, and trade Bitcoin for other investments. Say it's 0.1 Bitcoin, might buy a 350 unit apartment complex 10 years from now. That's when I'll know society's healed. When there's a certain amount of value or sats, say it's a million sats or whatever, a million sats will buy a 300 unit apartment complex. And then my tenants pay me in Bitcoin, something like that. That to me is what will really signify, hey, we've turned a corner here. We're now going a new direction. Torah, absolutely. BTFD, buy it. Again, price is the least interesting aspect of Bitcoin. It's the least interesting. Money that can't be confiscated. It's like the thumbnail here. Like your assets can't be seized. If you have a flipping, your seed in titanium cannot be burned, cannot be waterlogged, nothing, right? Get your passport core, get a wallet, take a few minutes to set the dang thing up. I missed like 2015 to the 2017 run up because I was scared of this. I'm no joke, guys. Literally no joke. I was like worried because I was in my fiat real estate stuff and I was just, grinding away at that, my fiat mining, and just didn't have time. Bitcoin wasn't introduced to me properly. And I just didn't see it the right way, I guess. And the wallet thing hung me up. Self-custody hung me up. Thought I had to have in a wallet. Thought it was too complicated. And again, I'm sure I know it was a little bit more complicated then. Now it's incredibly easy. It takes a few minutes, but oh my gosh. I lost massive gains, fiat gains, but then you get into Bitcoin and then you see, oh wow, what could be better than my time and energy in a finite container that can't be taken from me. It can't be inflated away and it can't be stolen from me by some Yahoo over in the EU. So yeah, no, these are the 12 and 24 where they got nothing on them. So they got, I think you can see them. So they're the blank ones. They're just my model ones tore up. So, oh man. Yeah. And, it feels nice. This thing's like half a pound. So like there's some of the wallets I'm not going to mention that they're like cheap and you kind of, you feel them, you get them. You're like, oh, this is like, I'm going to drop it on the floor and I'm going to break it. Well, the passport core is not that. It's also, don't tell them, but I did drop this also on the floor and it did come apart in a few pieces, but I put it back together and literally nothing happened. So like you can pull the back off, you can pull the battery out. So the back came off, the battery comes out. So like I dropped on the floor already and it just like went in 3 pieces. Like literally like the second day I got it, I was like, oh, that's great. But it ain't cheap. I'll tell you that. I have numerous wallets and they're super cheap. This is not cheap. That's for sure. It's built very well. I think it's the only one made in the USA, by the way. So anyway, if you guys want to support the show, they're down there. You get some deals on the products. Obviously I love these. I feel it's my duty, obviously, to talk about this stuff, build community, and then chill, amazing Bitcoin only privacy centric open source companies. That's it. Like that's my job at the end of the day. And, I feel compelled to do it. I feel a call. My biggest fear is that I get to the gate someday and God looks at me and says, hey, you had this knowledge, buddy, and you did jack shit with it. That's my biggest fear. So that's why I do this. I've had some people ask me over the last couple of weeks, and I had some people in the conferences when I was talking, because I tend to go on some rants and get a little heated. And they asked me why I do this and will I ever get sick of it? And I just said, no, I get sick of social media. I'll say that. Like social media sucks. I can't stand fiat. All this. dealing with all this garbage is very fiat, but the call is bigger than, dealing with the BS of constantly having to do things and try to, posting and doing stuff and being with other people. I mean, if I had my choice, I would not do any social media. No one would probably ever see me, but the call inside is what brings me back, honestly. And the people, I mean, you guys seeing people at conferences, getting to meet people, it's absolutely amazing. And that's the thing that really is the only thing that keeps me coming back. Otherwise I'd live in the hills somewhere and, my 1,000-yard range or something like that. And that's all I'd be doing. So, it's this inside and the fear that someday I will be called out and I had knowledge that I didn't share with other people. And that scares me more than anything. And that's why I continually open my mouth. So, yeah. So Sharper Passport Prime is, yeah. And Tara up said, humans will always be late till they finally get in. Then it becomes, I don't have enough. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and again, most humans most humans, unfortunately, it's like, poor will always be among us, and that doesn't mean in wealth. That just means everything. It means in attitude. That means in poor in faith, not believing, they have too much cynicism, all these different things. That's what, being poor means at the end of the day. It's all these different things. And it's not just one thing. It's not just wealth. So people touching the stove many times over and over again until they learn. And it's hard to learn from other people, apparently, in their mistakes. So it is what it is. And that's why I say we know we only need a couple percent. We only need a couple percent of people. Keep the main thing. So that is it. And to, I forget who was saying this earlier, Daniel, there's probably some people, YouTubers, that are saying stuff, because there are people freaking out. I mean, people have been freaking out for months now. People are if you're on Bitcoin Twitter, people have been very just in a malaise, freaked out. They've been really getting depressed. You can feel a capitulation coming. And so again, I don't know what other YouTubers are doing, but or podcasters or whoever, but I feel compelled to just refocus people on what's important. Like I said, Neil Flesher's book, Modern Chains, is unbelievable. And I'm going to have him on the pod soon. And at the end of the day, like, macro doesn't matter. I love my macro guys. I love me some Dr. Jeff. We have Joe Carlasari coming on. We'll probably talk macro here later this week. That'll be out in the next week or so. Love talking macro. Again, I'm a numbers guy, but at the end of the day, no one cares about numbers. The big money in the world might, but there's a lot more people than 99% that care about just normal everyday things, and that are going to be the couple percent of people we need to move the needle and actually move culture forward, which politics is downstream from culture. And so we need to remember that at the end of the day, that's what's important. So Neil Flesher went to the U.S. Military Academy, is an Apache pilot, was an Apache pilot, very similar to Preston Pish, actually. Preston's more of the numbers macro guy, that background, and Neil's a little more philosophical, probably a little more similar to me in the sense of, hey, this is the right thing to do. It's the moral thing to do. And that's all that matters. Everything else is moot. It literally is just, nonsense that we keep giving energy to this macro numbers. Oh yeah, we got to figure out the interest rates. And, we're listening to Jerome Powell speeches. Who cares? I mean, again, the more that we do that, the more energy we give that system. So it'll be a fun one. So we have some really good ones coming up though. We also interviewed, Tor Eklund and, Michael Hazard on, some of these cases they're working on, the two lawyers that work on Roman Sterlingoff's case, and some really big things going on there. That'll drop in a few days. That's gonna be a really interesting one. We didn't go down the weeds too much in like legal jargon. We kind of talked above, kind of 100,000 foot view on a lot of things. So I think you guys will really enjoy that. And we also, I'm trying to think, we have Jason Leibowitz coming on talking about Bitcoin denominated life insurance, which is really fascinating. Again, I have a buddy of mine that I was argued with for years about Bitcoin life insurance and how it doesn't work long-term whole life insurance. And why would I not just buy Bitcoin instead of getting 5% return in the bond market through whole life insurance? And we just argue for years, and now it makes sense. Meanwhile, it's actually figured it out how to make it make sense. And it's denominated in Bitcoin. Who would have thought? So it's the best of both worlds. So really pumped to have them on board as a sponsor, and he was on the show. So that'll come out in the next week or so. Passport Prime. I don't own that device yet. And I think it's coming out right now. So I actually have a call with Foundation actually soon to get that, like do an actual like physical call with them to get it set up, like get it, unbox it, set it up, stuff like that. That thing looks sweet. That looks really sweet. And, the thing I love about Bitcoin is that like a foundation, I don't, again, I love Bitcoin because I don't agree with absolutely everything that everyone says at all the time. But the products you make speak for themselves. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. So, we had some Passport Prime is coming. I believe it's being shipped right now, just in the last couple weeks, I believe. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, and I do have pins in those places that we visited. That was actually for more of the kids, to be quite honest, just some of the, different homeschooling stuff. Um, and then I love it. Stack more sats. It's great stuff, guys. Great stuff. Appreciate all of you. Throw ideas, comments for live streams and stuff you guys want to chat about in the future. But again, prepare yourself for what's coming. It really is quite simple what's happening at the end of the day. We have a duty to ourselves, our posterity, to the people around us to help them remove themselves from the system and the corrupt legacy fiat debt-based monetary system we're in. And Bitcoin is the first time humans have had money. So now when you have this world where you can just store your time and energy in this container that doesn't lose, that doesn't have a bucket or a hole in it with inflation coming out, losing your time and energy. Now you can just store your time and energy in this bucket, finite time and energy and trade it for this finite bucket, finite Bitcoin. It's a perfect trade. Now we actually have a trade instead of now I've got to go sell my dollars to go get real estate, got to go sell to get bonds, got to go sell to get stocks, businesses, whatever it is. Those things naturally start to come down in nominal price, and they start to make more sense as investments 5 years from now, 10, 15, 20 years from now, because now Bitcoin will have taken all that monetary premium away and will have evened out the prices. And now it'll make sense to actually go back in the market, kind of like what I was alluding to earlier. And real estate will be a good play 10 or 20 years from now. I just talked about this with Dr. Jeff like 6 months ago. And he was like, yeah, in 20 years, it'll make perfect sense. It won't make sense to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin probably won't even be a thing. Like you can't buy Bitcoin in 20 years. It'll just be the thing. It'll just be the money. So you can't buy Bitcoin. You'll just be earning in Bitcoin. You'll be trading in Bitcoin, trading for other assets, other things in Bitcoin. I would trade 0.1 Bitcoin, a million sats or 10 million sats for a 300 unit apartment complex. Then I get paid by my tenants in Bitcoin. And around we go. There's no more world. And I think that's the thing that's really confusing to a lot of people is they don't see that world. It's very hard to see. You get a lot of people that are like, well, if dollars don't exist, then Bitcoin doesn't exist. So that's the world that we're coming to, we're entering. It's gonna be a fun world. We're gonna talk about this much more because it's one of my favorite topics. So I appreciate you guys. Go check out the links in the description. Seed words on the seed plate, none on their tore up. Sorry, and the foundation. Meanwhile, Soap Miner, get your soap. Only accept sats. A lot of these guys only accept sats. So Soap Miner, the beef, the tallow soaps. I've been using those for a number of months, and he came to me, awesome guy, and said, "Hey, can I sponsor the show?" Incredible. Here he is. So go check out the links if you want to sponsor the show. We got a lot more content. We're coming on the Clips channel. More content coming here. Probably at least 2 podcasts a week we're gonna be doing. This is the time to put the pedal to the metal and really start educating people. So I appreciate you guys a ton. Thanks, Sharper. Thanks, Torup. Thanks, Daniel. Beachy, everyone that's on here, and many more that didn't come on. So I appreciate you guys. Look forward to doing this more as well. Give me suggestions for the show here as well, a daily show, because we will probably be doing this, probably like a daily bit or something like that. Maybe some reaction to stuff, things that are happening. But keep the main thing, folks. It's all that matters.